ولا تغيره الحوادث ولا يخشى الدوائر يعلم مثاقيل الجبال ومكائل البحار وعدد قطر الأمطار وعدد ورق الأشجار وعدد ما أظلم عليه الليل وما أشرق عليه النهار ولا تواري منه سماء سماء ولا أرض أرضا الحلال ما أحللت والحرام ما حرمت والدين ما شرعت والأمر ما قضيت الخلق خلقك والعبد عبدك وأنت الله الرؤوف الرحيم. صلى الله تعالى على حبيبه ونبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا قوم إنما هذه الحياة الدنيا متاع وإن الآخرة هي دار القرار. وعن عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت ما شبع آل محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم من خبز وشعير يومين متتابعين حتى قبض. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope everyone is doing well today. My dear respected brothers and sisters, today inshallah we will commence with the fourth juz. But before we move on to لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, I would like to look at an ayah just before this, the previous ayah. Right? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, this is ayah number 91. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَمَاتُوا وَهُمْ كُفَّارٌ فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمْ مِلْءُ الْأَرْضِ ذَهَبًا وَلَوِ افْتَدَىٰ بِهِ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ وَمَا لَهُم مِّن نَاصِرِينَ. Allahu Akbar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. This is one thing, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to understand. And this, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, this is, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we really, truly need to understand the value of this kalima, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us true understanding and true meaning of this kalima. One thing that I would like to share with you guys, with you folks, subhanallah, the value of this La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O my slaves, Qiyamah will not take place, as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said to us, has informed us. Qiyamah will not take place until there is a single person, until remains a single person on the face of this earth saying the kalima of Allah, saying La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Once that person passes away, when there is no one to say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, then Qiyamah takes place. Right? So as long as there is someone saying the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying the kalam of Allah, saying this kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, Qiyamah does not take place out of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly give us the understanding of this deen. Ameen. And truly give us the understanding of this kalima. Here you have to understand, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about, as we were talking about yesterday, we had discussed sadaqah, giving charity in fi sabilillah. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about their generosity and talks about their giving in charity. Right? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Now those people who have disbelieved, وَمَاتُوا وَهُمْ كُفَّارٌ. Now here is condition, hal. Right? What state did they pass away in? Right? In the state of kufr, state of disbelief. فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says these people can spend billions and trillions of dollars in charity. They can give all that in charity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not accept it. What is the criteria? What is the standard of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The standard, the criteria of acceptance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you have to be a Muslim. You have to be a Muslim. You are a Muslim. You submit your will to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then I accept. And the word here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, see, len here, len is used here in ayah number 91. Len is also used in ayah number 92. Right? فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. And here in ayah number 92, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ. Just understanding the meaning of lam alif and len. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say, لا يقبل منه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say their charity, their giving in charity, their money will not be accepted, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word lan here. Same word in ayah number 92. Lan tanalul birra, right? Now the difference, understanding the difference between, for example, a person says, I will not deceive, right? You have someone who says, I will not deceive. Now when this person says, I will not deceive, understanding that at this, given the circumstance, in this gathering, and sometime in the future, we are hopeful that this person will not deceive. I will not deceive you. This person has not closed all doors to deception, right? Why? Because he's saying, I will not deceive. There are still doubts in that statement, right? There are still doubts in this. That who knows, maybe he's saying right now, due to the circumstance, he's saying, I will not deceive. But it can happen so, what can happen so is that in the future, this person may deceive you, right? When a person says, I will never deceive, this means this person he has closed all doors to deception, right? Nullifies everything, negates everything. This person will never deceive you, right? Talking about right now and talking about the future. No chance, right? So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says as well, فَلَن يُقْبَلَ مِنْ. There is no chance. There is no chance. Not even 1%. Not even 1%. Right? No percentage. That their deeds, giving their wealth in charity will be accepted. Right? Now moving on to ayah number 92. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the same word. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ. O people. O slaves of mine, O servants of mine, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ. You will never attain piety. Not is not being used. The word not, never is being used. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى. Now what is the condition? How or when can I receive, when can I attain piety? حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. Until you spend in fi sabilillah from that which you love. Now bir here means لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ. Now understanding this, refers to as the pinnacle of piety, right? In order for us to maximize our taqwa, to maximize our piety, to maximize our righteousness, right? We have to spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from that which we love. Allahu Akbar. Excuse me. For example, and this is something we need to show zeal. We need to be enthusiastic towards, right? For example, you go to the doctor, right? A lot of us go to the doctors, a lot of us go to clinics, some of us go to hospitals, right? For checkups. I'm talking about checkups. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. I mean, now we go there, we ask doctors, tell me something. I wish to maximize my health. I wish to maximize my health. So the doctor responds by saying that, eat fruits, make sure you have your vegetables, make sure you have your broccoli, make sure you have your Brussels sprouts, make sure you have this, make sure you have that, make sure you exercise, make sure you do all of this, and then what will happen? You are able to maximize, right? Maximize your potential, right? Maximize your health. For example, the same goes for our benefits. The benefits that are being given right now in the States and in Canada, right? You make sure you document everything. You make sure you have everything. Why? So you can receive maximum benefit, right? You want the best. Everyone wants the best. Subhanallah. I've never seen a person, never met a person who says, I don't want the best, right? You go to college, you go to university, you want the best of marks, you want to be the best. You want to beat the best. You want to be the best, right? You drive a car, you want to have the best of cars. You live in a house, you live in a mansion, you want the best of mansions, you want the best. This is in our nature. You want the best, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? You want the best of cars, you want the best of children, you want the best of education, you want the best of everything, right? So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh people, if you want the best of bir, if you want pinnacle of righteousness, if you want to maximize your righteousness, this cannot be attained. This will never be attained. The only way of obtaining this is حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You have to spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from that which you love. Now, subhanAllah, no sooner was this ayah revealed. As soon as this ayah was revealed, Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, they started looking for their assets, started looking into their assets. What is the most valuable thing? What is the most valuable thing I own? The most valuable of my possessions? The most valuable commodity I have, right? What is that one thing? Talha radiallahu anhu, he looks at his garden, looks at his commodity, looks at his garden. A beautiful garden. Rasulullah, and there is a well. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to drink water. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam at times would go and rest there, right? This garden of Talha radiallahu anhu. This ayah was revealed. Looks at that garden. Today, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll get to this after. Talking about Talha radiallahu anhu first. Talha radiallahu anhu looks at this garden. Goes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Rasulullah, I have looked at all my possessions. I've had a look at all my assets. Ya Rasulullah, amongst my commodity. Ya Rasulullah, amongst my land. Bayruha, this garden of mine, this well of mine, Ya Rasulullah, it is the most beloved to me. Ya Rasulullah, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, you will never attain piety, maximum, the pinnacle of piety until you spend from that which you love. Ya Allah, Ya Rasulullah, this is the most beloved to me, Ya Rasulullah, I wish to spend this in fi sabilillah. Ya Rasulullah, without, any no second thought. Allahu Akbar. In our situation, when it comes to spending some money, when it comes to giving in fi sabilillah, we think twice. I'm giving this. It doesn't have to be a lump sum amount. It could be a small amount. We think twice at times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. We think twice. Am I giving I could use this money for something else. We are a little hesitant. Talha radiallahu anhu, this beautiful garden of his, this beautiful well of his, there is no hesitation. Ya Rasulullah, I wish to give this in fi sabilillah. Zayd radiallahu anhu, he looks around. What is my most valuable asset? What is my most valuable commodity? What is my most valuable possession? He looks at it, looks around. He finds his horse. Says, Ya Rasulullah, O Prophet of Allah, this is the most beloved to me. Ya Rasulullah, this is my most valuable asset. This horse of mine. Ya Rasulullah, you take it. Gives it in fi sabilillah. Right? Gives it in fi sabilillah. Now, understanding Allahu Akbar. See, even, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to realize the value of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has for us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even in this ayah, see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanAllah, today we think that we have to do so much, right? Little do. And in this discussion, a person is, deprived of so many favors. A person gets deprived of so many other things, right? The slightest and the smallest of actions that we perform can be means of our salvation. The smallest of deeds that we perform can make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy, can please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then again, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ does not mean all the things you love. For example, a person loves his house. A person loves his children, a person loves his watches, a person loves his cars, a person loves his money, and the list goes on and on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not saying, oh slave of mine, oh servant of mine, give everything. Give everything and live in a shelter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not saying this. مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ does not mean all the things you love. Tuhibbun means love for something which you are in need of. Generally, our case, money, right? Everyone is in need of money. See, then again, coming back to Allah, everything, every step that we take, as we live our lives, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us. Oh my slaves, is my love more than the love that you have for your land? Is my love more than your possessions? This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see. And what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? By Allah, today people, they say, I've sacrificed this cow. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of that cow. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? By Allah, the blood does not reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fur does not reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Their meat does not reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what is the maqsad of this? What is the purpose, the goal and the objective of doing all this? It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just wants to see. It is a test. It is a form of a test. He wants to see, oh, my slaves, are you able to sacrifice? Are you able to sacrifice? There are those who, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed them. There are those who spend thousands of dollars, right? Now see, even when this is now, I'm just jumping into Eid al-Adha right now. And then I will get back to this, get back to our Ramadan, our blessed Ramadan, inshallah. When it comes to Eid al-Adha, right? Now this applies to most of us, majority of us who are living back home. The best option, the best thing for us to do is you buy a camel or you buy, a goat sometime before Eid, right? You buy it sometime before Eid. A lot of us, now then again, if you have financial stability, right? Only thing, if you have financial stability to do this, right? May Allah Ta'ala reward you. If you have financial stability, right? Not everyone is able to do this. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you financial stability, what is the best thing for you to do? You buy an animal, you take care of that animal. This is roughly, you're talking about maybe two to 3 weeks prior to Eid al-Adha, right? Sometime before Eid al-Adha. You build this bond, right? You have this connection with this animal. Now when Eid al-Adha comes, when you slaughter this animal, you feel that pain. Right? You feel that a person says, I took care of this. I used to feed this animal every single day. I used to feed the goat. My children used to feed the goat. My children used to feed this camel. I used to take it out for a walk. Right? That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see. The sacrifice, right? See, similarly, when someone gets up for tahajjud salah, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see. Right? And subhanAllah, the way Quran describes it, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, these people are those people, righteous people, who have shown disloyalty to their beds and they have shown loyalty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see our loyalty. Similarly, when a person gets it for tahajjud, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to say, okay, my slave, are you willing to sacrifice something that is beloved to you at this point? What is the most beloved thing to you at that point? 3 o'clock. Your money is not beloved to you. 3 or 4 o'clock. Your children are not beloved to you. Your children make noise. You tell them to go to sleep, leave me alone, right? What is the most beloved thing to you at that point, at that moment? It is your sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see, oh, my slaves, are you ready to sacrifice this? Right? So in our time right now, when we are living our lives, what is about something that holds value to us, right? Something that holds some sort of a merit, right? What holds value? What has value in our eyes today? Our wealth. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking us, right, to spend everything, whatever you have, empty out your pockets. No. Spend, something of value, right? That which you love, and you have need. And now, subhanAllah, then again, coming back to Ramadan and coming back to our topic, see, the key thing here we have to understand, something that is of some value, right? So as I mentioned yesterday, giving $1 in charity in fi sabilillah is far greater in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than spending thousands of dollars at the time of death, right? Why? Because you have no value for it, right? Similarly, and this applies to a lot of us today, my dear respected brothers and sisters. For example, a lot of, we feel happy, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, when we feed the poor and needy, right, at times we feel happy. But little do we know that food is not for our consumption. The food that we get, not everyone, then again, I'm not saying everyone, right? And who am I to judge, right? I'm not judging anyone. This is a friendly reminder, a humble request for us, for all of us, the listeners and the viewers, right? We have no value for that food. It is leftover food. The leftover food that we have, right, we say, yeah, give them to the servants, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is well aware we can't deceive Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not saying this is wrong, not saying you shouldn't do this, but what's preferable, what's better is that the food that you make for yourself, when it's, you and I both know this, leftover food doesn't have the same taste. Right? These are humans too. Allahu Akbar. Let us treat them like humans. Let us not treat them like animals. These are humans. They have feelings too. Let us give them food. The same food what we have for our consumption. Similarly, when it comes to clothing, the women folk who are listening, the men folk who are listening, right? When it comes to giving of clothing, right? Distribution of clothing, right? When we give clothes to our servants back home, right? Not slaves. Slavery has been abolished, right? These servants, they get paid for, right? So when we give few things to our servants, right? It's sad to say, majority of the things they receive are either worn or torn apart, right? Your son used to wear that shirt is worn out. You know what? Oh, you say to your servant, give that to your son. No. See, Allahu Akbar. See, it's the little that we see. Today we think we have to do so much. No, no, no. By Allah, the little stuff that you can do. For example, you go to the store, you buy a shirt for your boy, you buy a shirt for your girl, you buy some clothing for your husband or whatever, right? We're not saying to spend $50, buy a shirt for $50. I'm not saying to buy a shirt worth 1,000 rupees or something. You can find a shirt, right? A brand new shirt that's worth maybe 20, 30 rupees. Buy that shirt. Give that shirt to your servant. By Allah, who knows the smile that your servant will have, the smile that your servant will have on display. Who knows, that could be that deed, this one deed. Your salah, don't think your salah will take you to Jannah. Don't think all of these a'mal, your huququllah will take you to Jannah. By Allah, just that one smile can take you to Jannah as well. Just that one little deed can take you to Jannah. Right? So it's the little that we do as well. Right? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding of this, right? And then again, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. This, my dear respected brothers and sisters, coming back to competition, right? Coming back to competition. This is something, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we need to compete within ourselves, within our relatives as well, right? For the right reasons, not competing to see, one thing understanding, then again, looking at this beautiful ayah in Surah Dahr, and in Surah, or you can say Surah Insan, either one, Insan or Surah Dahr. إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ. We're only doing this. We only did this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. Don't do this for any compensation. Don't do this for any form of gratitude. Nothing in return. Whether people acknowledge this act or not, doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares if people say, MashaAllah, you're a generous person. MashaAllah, you're giving so much money in charity. MashaAllah, you're doing all this for deen. Who cares about that? Don't worry about people. إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ. وَجْهُ اللَّهِ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ. That this is the only thing that matters to you, and this is the only thing that should matter to you. The only thing that should matter to you is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is it. Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in would compete in amal. Today everyone competes for science. Today we compete for math. Who can get it? I can have my GPA is this, my GPA is 3.0, my GPA is this, it's 4. We compete for this, right? But we need to compete for deen. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, right? Umar radiallahu anhu used to, he is a Khalifa, Amir al-Mu'mineen at this point, right? Umar radiallahu anhu, he looks at it, he watches, then again, he sees, they would see one another, examine one another. What is that person doing? What action is he doing? I want to do that action too. What is something extraordinary about him, right? Umar radiallahu anhu, he used to see Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, after Fajr Salah, he doesn't return to his house. So Umar radiallahu anhu, he's shocked, he's like, every single person returns back to their house, where they go for some work. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, where is he going? Where does it go? So one day he follows him. So I want to see what Abu Bakr is up to, radiallahu anhu. What is he up to? So then again, now he finds Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He goes into, there's a small hut, there's a small place, right? Small shed. He goes, knocks on the door, enters, comes right out, and then goes away. Umar radiallahu anhu says, who lives here? Why does he go inside every single morning after Fajr Salah? Why does he go there? Umar radiallahu anhu says, I want to go inside as well. The next day he goes inside, finds an old woman. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Finds out the woman is unable to see. Said, who are you? Said, I'm just a woman. He said, what? Tell me about that person who comes to you every morning. Said that person, look at this, Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said, I don't know who that is. He's a person, Allahu Akbar. Who is this? Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. Allahu Akbar. What is one of the merits of Abu Bakr radiallahu anh? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, on Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be so angry. He'll be very angry. In that anger, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says himself, I will never be angry. And I've never been angry. Right? My anger will never exceed that anger, the anger that I will have on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says himself. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, on Yawm al-Qiyamah, after seeing the deeds of Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, half of the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will diminish. Half of his anger will be gone just by looking at the deeds of Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. This is Amir al-Mu'minin, our Khalifa Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. He goes into the house. So now the woman is saying, I don't know who that person is. Every morning he comes to my house. He knows I'm not able to see. I'm unable to see. He makes my food. He cleans my house. Who is this today? Today we say, I'm the owner of this. I have. I make $50 an hour. I make $60 an hour. We tend to boast our status, right? Why should I do this? Why should I get down and clean this? Why should I get down and do this? Why should I get down and why should I come out of my car and say salam to a miskin? Why should I do this? Why? Because that's what status, right? This is because of our arrogance, right? And our own pride and our own haughtiness. Because of this, we're unable to do this, and we get deprived of these beautiful, beautiful deeds. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, Amir al-Mu'minin, Khalifa at this point, right? Not a regular person, Amir al-Mu'minin, looking after the entire ummah, all by himself, Amir al-Mu'minin, Khalifa at this point. He goes and cleans the house. If Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu wanted, he could have advised someone else. You know what? Oh, my servant, you come with me and you clean her house and I will watch, as we do, right? I will watch. You do this for me. You clean my car for me. I will watch you. You do this for me. I will watch you, right? Abu Bakr radiallahu anh cleans the house himself, right? So who is this person? I don't know who that person is. He never tells me his name. Allahu Akbar. Never tells me his name. Never tells me his name. Then a time comes, either this story is, or subhanAllah, another story, another incident. Abu Umar radiallahu anhu, he goes inside, right? Either if it's this house or a different house, goes inside, feeds that poor lady. The poor lady says, you know what, you're not the same person who used to feed me. Umar radiallahu anhu says, how do you know you're blind? He said, because the person who used to feed me, he used to chew my food and then place it in my mouth. You are only breaking this food apart and placing it in your mouth. The person who used to come and feed me before you, he would chew my food and then feed me. No sooner did she say this, Umar radiallahu anhu, he goes back to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and says, Ya Abu Bakr, O Abu Bakr, those who are coming after you, those who come after you, you have tired them. You have exhausted each and every single one of us. We can't reach your status. We can't reach your status. Allahu Akbar. This is the competition Sahaba radiallahu anhu ajma'in would have. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, one of the Sahaba, amongst Ashara Mubashara, guaranteed Jannah in this world. Whether he does something or he doesn't, nothing happens. Umar radiallahu anh, guaranteed Jannah. Whether he does something or doesn't do it, doesn't matter. Guaranteed Jannah in this world. But no, there is a goal that we have. There is a maqsad. There is a goal and objective of our life. What is that objective? It is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as long as we breathe. As long as we breathe. Today we said still after performing one hajj, after two hajj, three hajj, alhamdulillah, I've done three hajj. Alhamdulillah, I'm satisfied. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding. So this is their zeal, my dear respected brothers. This was their zeal. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the same zeal. Ameen. Now, moving on. To ayah number 124, as I mentioned yesterday, we are going to discuss today, inshallah, Battle of Badr. Now, Badr comes later on as well. We will discuss Badr, inshallah, but mainly Uhud today. Badr and Uhud today. And the valuable lessons that we can extract, the gems that we can extract today. وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ بِبَدْرٍ وَأَنْتُمْ أَذِلَّ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, say Allahu Akbar. Who is the one to help us today in COVID-19? Who is the one who helps us through all of our matters, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is the one who helped the Muslims of Badr? Who is the one who aided them, who provided them, who helped them? None other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ بِبَدْرٍ وَأَنْتُمْ أَذِلَّةٌ. Remember the time. Who helped you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped you. وَأَنْتُمْ أَذِلَّةٌ. You were few in number. You were few in number. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Getting into Badr. And subhanAllah, it takes place in Ramadan as well. The first battle of Muslims. Now, the news reaches Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Where are the Muslims right now? They're in Medina, right? Kuffar are in Mecca. Poor Muslims, they were evicted, forced out of their own homes. Just imagine, you were born in a place, you lived there for all your life, nearly your entire life. You were kicked out, evicted. You're forced to leave your own house, evicted and forced to migrate, exiled, right? Muslims are in Medina. The news reaches them that the caravan of Abu Sufyan is returning from Sham and it is heading towards Mecca. Now the Muslims, they say, now no intention of war, no intention of war. The Muslims say, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what do the Muslims say now? They say, let us intercept the caravan of Abu Sufyan. Let us intercept the caravan of Abu Sufyan. And Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, as you understand, they were forced to leave. Now, these people, when they left Mecca, they had all their possessions, they had all their assets, all their valuable things in Mecca, right? So they said, this is a time for us. Let us intercept this caravan. Let us take let us take these things back. Now, before Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, before they could intercept this caravan, the news had already reached Abu Sufyan that Muslims are coming now. 330. Now the caravan was less than 313. The news reached Abu Sufyan that the caravan is coming. So Abu Sufyan, he turns his way and he goes to Mecca. They tell the Meccans that Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they are coming to intercept this caravan. They are coming to intercept this caravan. Quraysh, they say we're more in number. We're well equipped. The Muslims are weak and feeble, na'udhu billah. But let me tell you this, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Man wajada Allah wajada kulla shay, wa man faqada Allah faqada kulla shay. You have Allah with you, you have everything. No means, they didn't have anything. What did they have? Just 70 camels. The Muslims only had 70 camels. We're not well equipped. As opposed to the kuffar, 1,000 in number, 313,000 in number. The news reaches Kuffar. They prepare an army, and they meet at the place of Badr, the Maidan of Badr. 1,000 Kuffar, 300 horsemen, 700 swords. They're fully equipped. They have their shields, they have their armor, everything fully equipped. Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, they had no intention of war. Nothing, no intention. Now they're coming. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam looks at his Sahaba and says, oh my companion, what do you say at this point? Now they're at, see, look, where the caravan was going to be intercepted. Now Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in are there. Kuffar of Makkah are there. Now, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam turns to his companions, doing mashwara with them, right? Oh my companions, what is your advice? What is your advice? Allahu Akbar. Look at the response. Miqdad radiallahu anhu, he says, Wallahi la naqulu laka kama qalat banu Israel li Musa. Ya Rasulullah, I swear by Allah, Ya Rasulullah, we swear by Allah, La naqulu laka kama qalat banu Israel li Musa. We are not going to use the same words that were used by Bani Israel for Musa alayhi salam. Right? Now, then again, we haven't done the story, but inshallah we will in the future. We will later on. As I mentioned, Bani Israel, they were instructed to go to Bayt al-Maqdis and fight Imalaqa, right? Descendants of Ad. Bani Israel, what did they say? They said, we will stay here. نحن ها هنا قاعدون. You go, you take your Allah. Musa alayhi salam, you go, you fight the people of Imalaka. When you are done, you let us know, we will stay here. And then we will come into that city. Right? So, Miqdad radiallahu anhu says, والله لا نقول لك كما قالت بنو إسرائيل لموسى اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنا ها هنا قاعدون. But we are going to say something else. We will not use the same words. ولكن اذهب يا رسول الله, you proceed. اذهب أنت وربك يا رسول الله, you proceed. Let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proceed. The two of you march. فقاتلا يا رسول الله, you proceed. فقاتلا إنا معكم مقاتلون. يا رسول الله, we will fight by your side. Ya Rasulullah, whatever help you need, we will fight by your side. We will stick to you. Whether you talk about sticking, we will stick to you from your right, from your left, from in front of you and behind you. Ya Rasulullah, we will stick with you. Ya Rasulullah, we live and we die with you. Ya Rasulullah, we will fight with you. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, now this was the opinion of Muhajirin. Umar radiallahu anhu, he said, Ya Rasulullah, let's go and fight. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Ya Rasulullah, let's go. Miqdad radiallahu anhu, Ya Rasulullah, let's go. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he is waiting for Ansar. Allahu Akbar. Waiting for Ansar, waiting for their response. So Sa'ad bin Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, he looks at Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and says, Ya Rasulullah. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, after their opinion, would say, O people, give me mashwara. Ushirun. O people, give me mashwara. O people, advise me. Now people had already advised Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhajirin had already said something. So Sa'ad bin Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, he understood Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is referring to us. Is talking about Ansar. Sa'ad bin Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, subhanallah, he says, Ya Rasulullah, if you wish for us to enter into the ocean, Ya Rasulullah, we are ready to enter into the ocean. Ya Rasulullah, whatever wealth you need from us, Ya Rasulullah, you take our wealth. Ya Rasulullah, you take our souls. Ya Rasulullah, we belong to you. Ya Rasulullah, our children belong to you. Ya Rasulullah, our wealth belongs to you. Everything, subhanallah, look at the loyalty of Ansar. Allahu Akbar. Look at the loyalty of Ansar. See? These people were not with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the beginning. Right? Muhajirin are those who are with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the beginning, right? In Mecca, when Muslims migrated to, Muhajirin are those who migrated to Medina. The Muslims of Medina are Ansar, the helpers of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What are they saying? Look at their loyalty. Ya Rasulullah, we are with you. Ya Rasulullah, this is the first battle in Islam to take place. Ya Rasulullah, first time they were being tested, right? Kuffar is against them. Meccans are against the first time. Look at their response. Ya Rasulullah, we are with you. Ya Rasulullah, whatever you need from us, Ya Rasulullah, we will aid. Ya Rasulullah, we will provide. Now Allahu Akbar. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam makes a beautiful dua. Allahumma in tuhlik hadhihi al-isaba. Ya Allah, today if this group is destroyed, what is their number? 313. Ya Allah, today if this group is destroyed, لا تعبد في الأرض. Ya Rasul, oh Allah, after this day you will not be worshipped. Ya Allah, you take care of these people. Ya Allah, you take care of them. Now look at this, subhanallah. On one hand, you have Utbah bin Rabi'ah, right? You have the father is your Utbah bin Rabi'ah, kuffar, kafir. On the other hand, you have Abu Hudhayfa radiallahu anhu, his own son. Son is against father. Son has pledged allegiance to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Utbah bin Rabi'ah, he has this flag of disobedience, and Hudhayfa radiallahu anhu has the flag of obedience to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. On one side you have Abdullah bin Jarrah, right? Abdullah bin Jarrah. On one hand you have Abdullah bin Jarrah, the father. On the other hand, with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have Ameen of this ummah, none other than Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah radiallahu anhu. On one hand, you have Aziz bin Umayr, or Uzayd bin Umayr, sorry. On one hand, you have Uzayd bin Umayr, right? The father. On the other hand, you have Mus'ab bin Umayr radiallahu anhu. Allahu Akbar. Going against their own fathers, going against their own brothers. On one hand, you have the son, you have Abdurrahman bin Abi Bakr. On one hand, you have Abdurrahman bin Abi Bakr. On the other hand, you have none other than Siddiq, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Right? One hand, son is against the father, father is against his. Look at their allegiance to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at how they were close. Look how close they were to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at their loyalty to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ready to slaughter and slay their own sons and children for the sake of Deen, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of what was the truth. Now, subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, in the next ayah, right, we understand. Now, I won't read the entire ayah. إِذْ تَقُولُ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَلَنْ يَكْفِيَكُمْ أَنْ يُمِدَّكُمْ رَبُّكُمْ بِثَلَاثَةِ آلَافٍ مِنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Now, we understand, according to one hadith, according to one narration, that they were equipped. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent 1,000, right? Sent 1,000. Now, subhanAllah, the news reached that a person is bringing another caravan. He has prepared his army, and they're coming as well to destroy the Muslims, right? This was their plan, to destroy the Muslims. Now, subhanAllah, look at the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just by looking at this ayah, in the next two ayahs. Allahu Akbar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, now I will help you with malaika, with my angels. Allahu Akbar. Now let me tell you this. We have to understand this, to understand the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how powerful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. The angels are being sent. The descension of angels, and subhanAllah, the descension of angels is something which was witnessed by Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in as well. So just imagine that scenario, that scene, right? Angels are descending. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now the descension of angels, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send these angels? Why did He send these angels? وَمَا جَعَلَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بُشْرَى لَكُمْ وَلِتَطْمَئِنَّ قُلُوبُكُمْ بِهِ. This was only done to strengthen their imans. Their imans were already strong, but to strengthen them, to console the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, and so they feel comfortable. Allahu Akbar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of malaika to destroy Quraysh. By Allah, the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanallah, had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, all of Quraysh would have been destroyed in the matter of seconds. In a matter of seconds, they would have been destroyed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need any. One malaika was enough. Had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to send a malaika, had He wished for this, one malaika would have been enough. One malaika could have, by Allah, one small angel could have destroyed all of Quraysh. But no, other reasons. What were some of the other reasons? وَلِتَطْمَئِنَّ قُلُوبُكُمْ بِهِ. To give them satisfaction, to console them, to strengthen their iman. Right? Today, my dear respected brothers and sisters, and we have to understand the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need anything to destroy the entire world. Today, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need any angel to shut down this entire world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shut down this entire world because of COVID-19. Something that the naked eye can't even see. We can't see it. We can't detect it. You can't even really detect the symptoms. Right? Just because someone may cough, just because someone may have some allergies, doesn't mean he has COVID-19. Right? This is something that you can't detect. The naked eye can't see. And today Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shut this entire world. Right? Allahu Akbar. My dear respected brothers and sisters, the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unimaginable. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen. How many are killed now? 70 are killed. 70 are killed. How many captives amongst kuffar? 70 captives. 70 are killed, 70 captives. This is an understanding, this is something, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to realize. When you have the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Allah ta'ala is on your side, nothing can stop you, no one can go against you. Whether you have the means or you don't have the means. Allah, look, subhanAllah, this is this is an example for us. A great model for us. Right? 313 didn't have anything with them. 70, can you imagine, just 70 camels. 70 camels, didn't have much, just 2 horsemen. That's it, 2 horses. That's all they had. When you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with us, when you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with you, you have everyone. You don't have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the reason why Muslims were victorious? What is the reason why Kuffar were defeated? Kuffar were defeated because they didn't have one thing, and that was the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Muslims were victorious because they had Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? My dear respected brothers and sisters, we need to turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And inshallah, this I will discuss later on towards the end. This is briefly of Badr. Now, as I mentioned, the stories of Badr, they will continue inshallah later on. So as whenever we go over those ayahs, inshallah we will discuss Badr. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding. Now the time of Badr, now at the time of Uhud, the news reaches. Now the reason why we are not reading every single ayah, because nearly all of these ayahs, until the end of this until the end of the surah, they're all pertaining, they're all related to Badr and related to Uhud. The majority of them related to Uhud, right? That's why we are not going and reading each and every single ayah, just giving you the explanation and the gist of this, and the valuable lessons that we can extract. So the news reaches Medina. The news reaches Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that kuffar are coming. Why? Now they see retaliation. They want to retaliate, right? Revenge. Heavily defeat. They faced this huge blow. At the time of Badr, 70 were killed. Their leaders were killed. 70 captives, right? So, and as opposed to the Muslims, right? Now, kuffar are saying, let's go and retaliate, avenge. We need to avenge ourselves. Let's go and take care of these Muslims. We should have taken care of them at the time of Badr, but something happened. Allahu Akbar. The help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was there. They're saying something happened, we weren't able to take care of them. Today is the day, let's go and take care of them. Today, let's prepare an army, let's go and take care of them. At that time, at the time of Badr, how many kuffar? 1,000. This time, they're saying, no, let's truly take care of them, no matter, see, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. By Allah, these 313, on that day, by Allah, if they were against 1,000,000 kuffar, by Allah, the Muslims would have been victorious. They would still be on top, right? Why? Because they had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with them. They had Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? It's not strength. We have strength. The strength that we have today, it's not strength in numbers. The strength that we have today, the Muslims, the only strength we have today, right? The only strength we have today is the strength of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we have the strength of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have all strength. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding. Now they're saying 3,000, let's go. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he asked Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in that, what is your opinion? Now the opinion of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was that we will stay here. Let them come. When they come, we will deal with them. This was the opinion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's asking Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Now the young Sahabas, Allahu Akbar, those with zeal and enthusiasm, they're saying, no, Ya Rasulullah, we will go and we will take care of them. Ya Rasulullah, let's go. So Rasulullah took their opinion, right? The opinion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was, we stay here. Let them come to us, and then we will handle, and then we will see what happens next, right? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is taking their opinion. Right, taking their opinion. Now, 1,000 against 3,000, right? 1,000 against 3,000. Roughly 1,000, okay? Roughly 1,000 against 3,000. Amongst them, now nearly 1/3 are who? They are munafiqeen. These people, in the beginning, their opinion was, yeah, we will stay here in Medina, we don't want to go for war. Why? Because they have this weakness in their heart. They're not, they have iqrar bil lisan, but not tasdiqun bil qalb, right? They're just saying we're Muslims, but they're not truly Muslims, right? So they're saying, we will stay here in Medina, let them come to us, right? Let them come to us. Now, when the decision was made, we will go there, we will go and fight, right? We will take care of them. Now they are asked to come as well, tag along. Now, when they see, upon seeing the opposition, upon seeing 3,000, obviously 1,000, you sometimes, you see for example, you have a college student, a university student, you're about to study something, you see this huge textbook, you're like, wow, I have to go back, I might, I'm not prepared. I have to prepare myself. When you see an exam, it's a huge exam, 4 pages, 5 pages, 10 pages, right? You look at the CPA exam, 3 days long, and all that stuff, right? You're saying, I need to be well equipped. I need to prepare myself, right? So these weak people, upon seeing this, they said, you know what? No, we can't fight them. We're not ready for this. We don't know how to. And to look at their excuse, if we knew how to fight, we would fight. If we know the tactics, if we know how to throw an arrow, all coming up with all these excuses, right? We will fight them. So 1/3 is going back now. Nearly 1/3. Allahu Akbar. 1/3 goes back. Now look at the number of the Muslims, right? Nevertheless, they come together. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he looks at 50 Sahaba, 50 archers, and he tells them, this is a small hill. Right? You protect our back. We will fight. You protect us from the back. See, subhanAllah. Look at this great tactic, right? If you are fighting from just the front, right? What about your back? Someone has to watch your six, right? You have to watch your back, right? Allahu Akbar. Look at the tactics. So you watch our back, right? You watch our back, telling the archers, right? They were appointed at a hill. Right, and if you go for, you can see this. You can see in subhanAllah, you can witness all this when you go for Ramadan, when you go for visitation, when you go for citation. So they're able to see. So that's their spot. Who is their Amir? Their Amir was none other than Abdullah bin Jubayr radiyallahu anhu. Right. So Abdullah bin Jubayr radiyallahu anhu, he is their Amir, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no matter what circumstance, under any circumstance, you are not to leave. You are not to leave. You are to stay still. You are to stay put. So this was the instruction that was given to them, the order that was given to them. Now, Sahaba radiyallahu anhum ajma'in, 1,000 versus 3,000. Who is winning? Allahu Akbar. The Muslims are winning. The Muslims are winning this battle. As a result, now the kuffar, they saying, you know what? We need to return. We need to go back. We need to go back. Now they're returning. And they are, now as they're running, they're leaving everything behind, because at that point, what is the most valuable thing to you? The most valuable thing to you is your life, right? So they're leaving everything behind, right? Now, I will not say, and this is something we should abstain from as well, because we are not talking about regular people, we are talking about Sahaba, radiallahu anhum ajma'in. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding. A lot of, some of us, or some people, they say, Sahaba, na'udhu billah, they became greedy. They had this greed in their hearts and they went after the spoils. No, we don't say this, right? We just say that now the Sahaba, radiallahu anhum ajma'in, now they started chasing the kuffar, right? And they were killing them from the back. Now what happened was the archers that were there, the archers that were there, they said, we're victorious now, and they came down as well, right? They came down as well. Now, how many came down? Roughly 35. 35. See, look, how many were there? 50, roughly 50, right? 35. Now you can only imagine how many are left, right? Not too many. So now they're left on top, and everyone else is at the bottom. So now here's what you have, what you can imagine. Just imagine this, right? So there's this hill. Now, obviously, I'm not able to see you, and you're not able to see me, but just imagine, right? So there's a hill that is protecting the Muslims from the back, right? You have other Muslims who are chasing the kuffar and, killing them, taking care of them. Now, Khalid bin Walid, Allahu Akbar, the genius he was. Now, this is before he embraced Islam. He looks at that point. Now their strength became their weakness. That strong point has now turned into their weak point, right? The archers, right, where the archers were placed. That was their strong point. That was their strength, right? It is easier to attack from top. So now Khalid bin Walid, and he visualizes, he analyzes all this, he analyzes the situation, and he says, you know what, let's turn back. Let's turn back. Let's not go away. He takes his people, right? He takes a group of people. He goes back where the archers were, right? He goes back where the archers were. He takes care of them. And Allahu Akbar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them shahada. The likes of Abdullah bin Jubayr radiallahu anh and his companions. They were given the titles of shuhada. So they were killed. Now Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anh, see, because there were only few in number, roughly 15 in number, majority of the people had left, right? Now Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anh, he says, look, now we've taken control, now let's go and attack. So now just to understand what is happening, Muslims are in between. You have kuffar who are in front of them. Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anh, so he goes in a loop, right? He takes his people, he takes his army, and he comes around, right? He takes care of those archers. Now he is behind the Muslims. Muslims are running, and now you're being attacked from your back, right? From the behind. Now what happens is that he tells the kuffar on the other end that you turn around as well. Now those, Khalid bin Walid, his army is attacking the Muslims from the back, right? He tells those people who are in the front, right, who are being chased by Muslims, he tells them, you turn around as well. Allahu Akbar. The kuffar, they turn around, and these people, they were already attacking the Muslims. What is the situation now? Muslims, Allahu Akbar, are sandwiched now. Just so everyone understands, right? You have one person. So for example, you have your father in front of you, you have your mother behind you. Your mother is facing you, your father is facing you now, and you're in between. Where are you going to go at this point, right? You're in deep trouble, right? So at this point, Allahu Akbar, Khalid bin Walid with this army, he is facing the Muslims, and the kuffar, they turn around and they're attacking the Muslims too. Allahu Akbar. At this point, now Sahaba radiallahu anhu ajma'in, what is their first priority? Allahu Akbar. Their first priority, it's not their own selves. It's not their children. No one else. It is to protect Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who is protecting Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Few Sahaba, what are some of their names? The likes of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Umar radiallahu anhu, Zubayr radiallahu anhu, Talha radiallahu anhu, Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu, and few others. They're protecting Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Talha radiallahu anhu, he would circle Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He would be in front of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he would go behind him. Then he would go to his right side. Then he would go to his left side. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, "Oh Talha, why are you doing this?" Talha radiallahu anhu, Allahu Akbar, look at his response. He says, "Ya Rasulullah, I'm afraid someone may attack you from the front, and Ya Rasulullah, that's why I come in front of you. Then I'm afraid, Ya Rasulullah, someone may attack you from your right side. Ya Rasulullah, I come to your right side. Ya Rasulullah, then I fear someone may attack you from the back. Ya Rasulullah, I come behind you. Then I fear, Ya Rasulullah, someone may attack you from the left side. Ya Rasulullah, I come to your left. Allahu Akbar. Circling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And on that day, Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in witness, they say, we would hear the mountains say, wajabat, wajabat, wajabat. It's made mandatory, it's made obligatory, it's made mandatory and obligatory. So Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in asked, Ya Rasulullah, wama wajabat, wama wajabat. Ya Rasulullah, what has been made obligatory? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam responds by saying, today, because of what Talha has done, Jannah has been made obligatory on Talha. Jannah, the mountains are saying wajib, wama wajibat al-Jannah. Jannah is being wajib today on Talha for what he has done. Allahu Akbar. You have other Sahaba who would circle Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sahaba who would take arrows. Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in who are protecting Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at this point. Right, kuffar are shooting and striking with arrows. Who is the target now? Their target was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Na'udhu billah, to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But they are hitting and they are striking Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in. It pierces their eye, it goes through their arms. Arms are paralyzed, hands are paralyzed. Allahu Akbar. Why are they doing this? To attain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Attain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the sacrifice that these Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in made in this life to find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking us to make the same sacrifice. What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us? O my people, pray 5 times a day. O my slaves, O my slaves, pray 5 times a day. O my slaves, give zakah. O my slaves, fast in the month of Ramadan. O my slaves, abstain from evil, refrain from doing bad things, and instruct others to do good things. That is it. This is the only sacrifice that we need to make. And we shouldn't even call this a sacrifice, honestly. We shouldn't even call this a sacrifice. What sacrifice is it praying 5 times a day? What sacrifice is this giving some sadaqah? What sacrifice is giving some amount, very small portion of zakah, right? We are not, those were the real sacrifices. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to make sacrifices for this deen, my dear respected brothers and sisters. What sacrifices are we making when we sleep 10 hours a day? Allahu Akbar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding. Then what happens? A person takes a rock, he strikes it, throws it, and it hits Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam falls backwards. He faints. Now, Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, subhanAllah, what do they think at this point? They think Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is no longer alive. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is no longer alive. Sahaba, this is, subhanAllah, this is their love for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he gains consciousness, when he wakes up, he raises his hands. Now, Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in are happy. Now they think now they think Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is going to make dua against kuffar, right? Now angels will descend the way angels were sent by Allah at the time of Badr. Now angels will help. Now angels will come and help us. Now everything is going to be okay. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam raises his hands. Who are we talking about? We are not talking about a regular person. We are talking about someone who is Sayyid al-Anbiya, leader of all prophets, who is a source of mercy for us. Raises his hands and he makes a dua, not a bad dua, rather a dua for them. Allahumma ghfir li qawmi فإنهم لا يعلمون. Ya Allah, you forgive these Quraysh. Ya Allah, you forgive these kuffar. This is the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Allah, you forgive these people, فَإِنَّهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Ya Rasul, Ya Allah, these people don't know. They don't know you, Ya Allah. They don't know your deen. They don't know my value, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, you forgive them. Allahu Akbar. Now, what were some of the casualties of the Muslims? Allahu Akbar. Nearly 70 Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in had passed away. Shaheed, Shuhada, right? Now look at the arrogance of Kafar. What are they saying? They say, today is the day we have taken revenge. You had defeated us, Badr. Badr was your day, today is our day. Uhud belongs to us. Badr belongs to you, Uhud belongs to us. So amongst the deceased, obviously, was the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Hamza radiallahu anhu. Amongst the deceased was Mus'ab bin Umayr radiallahu anhu. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, upon seeing Mus'ab bin Umayr radiallahu anhu, he began to cry profusely. There was a time, Allahu Akbar, there was a time when Mus'ab bin Umayr, he had everything. He had it all. Had everything. You talk about wealth, he had it. His clothing, subhanAllah. Today, you talk about someone wearing Gucci, you talk about someone wearing all these, fancy and brands and all these expensive brands, Mus'ab bin Umayr radiallahu anhu, clothing, custom made. The shoes that he wore, today everyone, today we feel happy about wearing Nike, we feel happy about wearing this and all that stuff, right? The shoes that he wore, custom made shoes, custom made clothing. This is the luxury that he had. But when he embraced Islam, his father said, no, this is something, all of this belongs to me, give me everything. The clothing that you have, give that to me. The clones, the itr that you have, give them to me. The shoes that you have, the clothing that you have, give them to me. There was a time when Mus'ab bin Umayr, this is before Islam, when he would walk, the women folk would recognize by his scent. They would smell a fragrance, and they would say, قَدْ مَرَّ بِهَا مُصْعَبْ بِنْ عُمَيْرٍ. Mus'ab bin Umayr had just passed by. Mus'ab bin Umayr has passed by this valley. Mus'ab bin Umayr has passed by this street. Why? How? Because of his scent. This was the luxury that he had. Today's the day of Uhud. All he has is one cloth, one sheet to cover himself. When they covered his face, the feet were exposed. When they tried covering his feet, the face was exposed. Allahu Akbar. That's all he has. Gave everything for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, now, coming to how Hamza radiallahu anhu was killed by Wahshi radiallahu anhu. Wahshi radiallahu anhu. Now, he was told, now when we understand, Wahshi radiallahu anhu, he embraced Islam much later, right? After the conquest of Makkah, and later on, right? That's when he embraced Islam. Now, orders were given to kill Wahshi radiallahu anhu. This is before he embraced Islam, right? Because he had killed the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Hamza radiallahu anhu. Orders were given to wherever he is spotted, he is to be killed. So someone told Wahshi radiallahu anhu that, you know what, the only way to be saved, the only way you can be saved is to embrace Islam. Wahshi radiallahu anhu, he goes to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam finds out that Wahshi is here to embrace Islam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asks him, okay, Wahshi, before we move forward, before we move on, how did you kill my uncle? How did you kill my uncle? My uncle was very brave. How did you kill him? How did you kill him? So Wahshi radiallahu anhu, he says, Ya Rasulullah, I had nothing to do with this. I only cared about my freedom. I was given a choice. In order to be free, take the lives of either one of these three men. Either yourself, Ya Rasulullah, I was given the order to take your life, Ya Rasulullah. Now understanding, Ya Rasulullah, you were protected. Ya Rasulullah, you were protected. I couldn't take your life. Then I was told, you either take the life of Ali radiallahu anhu or Hamza. Said, Ya Rasulullah, when I looked at Ali, Ya Rasulullah, his eyes were moving, his sword was moving. Wherever his eye would go, wherever his eyes would turn, his sword would go. Wherever his eyes would go left, the sword would go left. The eyes would go right, the sword would go right. Said, I knew that Ali couldn't be touched that day. Then I looked at Hamza, I knew Hamza couldn't be touched that day. But there was a moment where I saw that I said, Ali can't be touched today. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, you couldn't be touched that day. I looked at that moment where he was vulnerable. I looked at that moment. I seized and I cherished that moment. I looked at that moment. He said, I took my spear and I threw my spear. He had good aim. He said, I took that spear and I threw him, and when it went through Hamza radiallahu anhu, I didn't do anything else. My job was done. I had to kill one of them and I would be freed. He said, my job was done and I left. Now Hinda comes. Hinda, then again, coming back to, this was the story that Wahshi radiallahu anhu, he is telling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now coming back to Uhud, Hinda comes, mutilates the body of Hamza radiallahu anhu, cuts off the nose, cuts the ears, takes out his liver, chews it, is unable to consume it, throws it down, and goes away. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just imagine, right? You have someone who, today someone is sad. You have your parents to look for. You go to your parents. You have someone who is sad. You're sad. You turn to your parents. You turn to your brothers and sisters. You turn to your uncle. You turn to your grandfather. You turn to your grandmother. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahu Akbar. At this point, who's alive? Grandpa's not alive. Who does he turn to? Father is not alive. Who does he turn to? Mother is not alive. Right? Allahu Akbar. His uncle who used to take care of Abu Talib is not alive. Then who took care of him? Hamza radiallahu anhu. Look at this. Right? We are talking about, look at the pain Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been going through his entire life from the beginning. Hasn't seen his father. Mother passes away. Grandpa passes away. Grandfather passes away. Uncle passes away. Now he sees his uncle mutilated. Body is mutilated. The nose is slit. Ears are slit. The liver is out. The stomach has been cut open. Seeing this, Allahu Akbar. He is Sayyid al-Anbiya, the leader of all prophets. Allahu Akbar. You know, there's a saying, how does a saying about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam go? That we understand Qiyamah will be very horrific. The sights of Qiyamah are very horrendous and horrific. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, ameen. But by the looks of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is such, after being in that plain, in that field of on Qiyamah, even the day of judgment will become a means of blessing. Why? Because of the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The day of judgment is horrific, but even that, no, obviously for believers, even that day will become a day of blessing. Even that day will be decorated. That day will be adorned and decorated with what? With and how? By the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? So who is Sayyid al-Anbiya, but going through pain, after trials after trials, tribulations upon tribulations upon tribulations? Who does he have now? Right? Allahu Akbar. The wife is no longer there. Khadija radiallahu anha passed away as well. Now she looks at Hamza radiallahu anhu, starts to cry profusely, can't stop crying. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends Jibreel alayhi salam. Jibreel alayhi salam comes to console Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Oh my Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Ya Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, don't feel sad, don't be sad, don't become grievous, don't grieve today. Don't have any grief, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written on his arsh, under his arsh, Hamza Asadullahi wa Asad Rasuli. Hamza radiallahu anhu is the lion of Allah, Asadullah, and the lion of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Don't become grievous. Don't be grievous. Allahu Akbar. Thereafter, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam goes back to Medina. Now, majority of, as I mentioned, 70 were, among 70 shuhada, only 3 or 4 were muhajirin. Majority of them were Ansar. Now, Ansar today, they're crying, right, because of their loss. A lot of Ansar, a lot of women folk, they've lost their husband. Someone has lost his husband, a brother, a father, a friend, right? So everyone starts to cry. The women folk start to cry. Now this is then again before, it's the ahkam of mourning, right? Mourning is an M-O-U-R of Noha. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, today everyone is crying for their beloved. Amma Hamza fala bawaki alayh. Today everyone is crying because of who they have lost today. But there is no one to cry over the demise of my uncle. There is no one to cry. Who is here to cry of Hamza radiallahu anhu? No one is crying today because of Hamza. Right? This is then again before the ahkam of mourning, before Noha was made haram. Then again, my dear brothers and sisters, Allahu Akbar, look at the sacrifice that these people made. Look at the sacrifices. But one thing I have to understand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking us to make such sacrifice. All the hard work has been done. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. You know, you walk into a building, everything is ready for you. Ready-made, you know, you have ready-made food, you have everything, you know, microwave meal, everything is ready for us today. The hard work of deen has already been done. It's already been established by these Sahaba radiallahu anhum. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding. My dear respected brothers and sisters, when we have Allah, man wajad Allah wajada kulla shay, you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with you. You have everything. You have everyone. You don't have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you've lost everything. The easiest thing to do on the face of this earth, my dear respected brothers and sisters, it is to convince Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, for example, you're a person, now you've done something bad to your parents, or you've said something to them, or you've harmed them in some way or some shape, right? You're disobedient to them. They don't hate you. They hate your disobedience. right? They still have love for you. They still love you no matter what you do. You are still loved by them. What is the one thing they hate? They hate your disobedience, right? And then what happens is a time comes. See, look, you know how the saying goes, it is very easy to convince parents because parents love us. By Allah, what is to say of that Rabb who loves us 70 times, more than 70 times, His love, the love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has for us is 70 times more than a mother can have for her child. So don't you think it is easier for us to convince Allah? It is easier for us to convince Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's upset. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not hate a sinner. He hates his actions. He dislikes his disobedience. Yesterday we were Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today we belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tomorrow we will belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. As we speak, as we talk, we belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just waiting. When is that time? He has given us respite. Respite time until when? Until our last breath, right? He's given us time. You know, I've given you time. And Allahu Akbar. As I mentioned earlier, my dear respected brothers and sisters, Bani Israel, kunu qiradatan khasi'in. Other nations, kunu qiradatan, disgraceful monkeys, and you are to be transformed into donkeys and pigs. This is your punishment. How many sins do we commit, my dear respected brothers? How much we are, subhanAllah, how many sins do we commit, honestly? You know, and this is a question for myself as well, for everyone, for all the viewers and all the listeners, right? How many sins do we, Allahu Akbar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us to understanding. Now before I'm not ending right now, there's another ayah I would like to talk about. Another great ayah. Now those who have their Qur'ans open, if you wish to go to this ayah, you can. Ayah number 185. You know, keep this ayah in front of you. Keep this ayah in front of you. You know when you want to perform a task, you have the notice board, right? For example, you have the task board, right? The memo board, whatever you call it, right? For example, you have a test tomorrow, right? You will post on that or that announcement board, whatever you guys call it, right? You will post on that memo board, on that task board, right, on that billboard, whatever you call, you will say, tomorrow I have a test, study at 8 o'clock, right? For example, and a lot of us, you know, subhanAllah, we have the calendars as well, right, in our homes. We have suhoor, is that, for example, 5:15, right, I need to get up, Fajr comes in at 5 o'clock, just, for example, just saying, comes in at 5 o'clock, I need to have food before this, right, Iftar is in at Maghrib is at 8 o'clock, you know, that's when I break my fast, this and that, and that sort of, we do this to organize ourselves, right? You know, this is one ayah, my dear respected brothers and sisters. I would advise you, by Allah, this is just my, you know, my humble request to everyone, to all the viewers and all the listeners and all the participants. You know, write this ayah down, ayah number 185, write this ayah down, put it on that billboard every morning when you wake up. Look at this ayah, read this ayah, understand this ayah. Before going to bed, read this ayah, understand this ayah. What is this ayah? فَمَنْ زُحْزِهَا عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. This is something that we have to understand. Today, what is our criteria? What is our standard of success? What is our criteria? You have a doctor, you become a doctor, you are successful. You become an engineer, you'll become successful. You complete your accounting studies, you do your full CPA, you finish your CPA exam, now you're a certified public accountant, you're a chartered accountant, now you are successful, right? You do this, you earn a certain amount of money, you're successful. You become a millionaire, you're successful. This is our criteria, right? This is our criteria of success. This is our definition of success. But Allahu Akbar, the definition that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of success, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has of success is quite different. It is a lot different than our success. Our criteria in this world is, in order for you to be rendered successful, classified successful, in order for you to be successful, you have to become either a doctor, an engineer, you have to have deep pockets. This is our criteria. The criteria of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is فَمَنْ زُحْزِحَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ. he who is drawn away from the fire of Jahannam, وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةِ, you have been given access, you are granted access to Jannah, فَقَدْ فَازَ, you are successful. By Allah on Yawm al-Qiyamah, okay? By Allah on Yawm al-Qiyamah, a person who comes with hundreds of degrees, he has bachelors in this, masters in this, bachelors in this, I have this PhD, I have that, I have this degree, I have that degree, I have this master's. By Allah, if he enters into the fire of Jahannam and he is not given access to Jannah, by Allah, he is not successful. But by Allah, on the other hand, you have a person, you have a poor person who didn't have anything in this world, didn't have any clothes, didn't have anything. Everyone looked down upon him. He was poor, he was smelly, people turned away from him, people turned their backs, people didn't give him food. But by Allah, if this person, he is drawn away from the fire of Jahannam, وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةِ, and he is given access to Jannah, by Allah, he is successful. This is the criteria, this is the standard of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is something, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to understand. The criteria to success, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, in order for you to be success in this world as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, understanding this beautiful, beautiful deen of ours, this beautiful religion of Islam, does not stop us from earning wealth, earning dunya. You know what, let me tell you this. You might think, now, one thing I will tell you, all of us who are listening and who are here present, I can say this, and I can probably take qasam on this as well. We bring all of our assets together, and yet, by Allah, the assets of Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu are far greater, they surpass our assets. He was guaranteed Jannah. Then again, you bring all of our assets, bring everything. You know, today we say we have wealth. You talk about wealth, fine. Empty out your bank balances, empty out your bank accounts, and give everything. You have a credit card, take all that money out. You have a debit card, take all that money out. You have a travel card, take all the money out. Put your wealth together, and yet the wealth of Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu exceeds our wealth. He was guaranteed Jannah. Right? What is the reason? Now, someone may understand, what's the reason? They used their wealth not for their sake. They used their wealth as a means to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They used their wealth as, now Allah ta'ala has given, for example, we can see this in our case. Allah ta'ala has given you wealth, use it to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala has given you knowledge. Use this knowledge to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you ilm. He has given you a lisan. He has given you tahfiz. He has given you all of these things. He has given you a good memory. Don't use that memory to memorize songs. Use that memory, that good memory of yours, to memorize the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to memorize the breaths of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Use that memory to memorize Quran. That brain that you have, alhamdulillah, you're becoming a doctor, alhamdulillah, which is very nice, may Allah ta'ala bless you. You're becoming an engineer, may Allah ta'ala bless you. You're becoming an accountant, may Allah ta'ala bless you. But use that brain, use that intellect of yours for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Use it for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is something, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to understand. And this is the true meaning of success. فَمَنْ زُحْزِهَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ. Right? If we say we believe in the Quran, then we have to go by the Quran as well. Right? And then again, my dear respected brothers, as I was mentioning a few days back, right? Loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, doing things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? If we claim ourselves to be slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let us live our lives as slaves and not like kings. Our entire life, let us live our lives like slaves. Why do we tend to listen to our nufus? Why do we tend to listen to our nafs? Why do we tend to listen to the tricks and follow the tricks of shaitan, the traps of shaitan? Right? And subhanAllah, they know the poet says it beautifully. He says, he says, you claim to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and yet you disobey him? How can this be? You have someone, you tell your parents, I love you, I love you, I love you, but you don't listen to them. You tell your brother, I love you, but you don't listen to him. You tell everyone else, your children tell you, we love you, but they don't listen to you. Is that true love? We say, when it comes to kalima, we will say kalima Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. When it comes to Ramadan, we say Allah, Allah, Allah. But na'udhu billah Akbar. In Ramadan, Allah comes into our hearts. Outside of Ramadan, Ghairullah comes into our hearts. This is something we need to extract, right? In Ramadan, we have Allah in our hearts. We have Rasulullah in our hearts. Outside of Ramadan, we have Ghairullah. Outside of Ramadan, we have our cars, we have our fashion, we have our wealth, we have our charm, all this. وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. This is a delusion. Don't be delusional. It's a mirage. That's what it is. You know what a mirage is? You think it's water. You think you see water. Then you go closer to it. It's not water. Then it appears further. You go closer to it. It's not there anymore. This is what this dunya is. Upon one occasion, a pious person, I believe it was Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, he sees a woman. If not him, another pious person. Allahu A'lam. Nevertheless, a pious person sees a beautiful woman. He sees the woman. He goes near it. He sees it from far away. Looks very beautiful, looks very beautiful. Goes closer to it. Now it begins to change. Goes closer. Begins to change. Goes closer. Begins to change. When this lady, when she turns around, now he is so close to her, seems very ugly. Very, very ugly. Now he's shocked. He said, Wayhak, what are you? Woe unto you, what are you? He said, I'm Dunya. He said, I'm Dunya. He said, what happened? From far away you looked very nice. He said, yes, this is my reality. And Dunya, what is the meaning of Dunya? It's something that that attracts you, pulls you. It's like a magnet, right? This Dunya, this wealth, everything, you just want it. You want it. You want it all. You want to have it all, right? So what is this? He said that when people see me from far away, this is my reality. If I'm seen from far away, I look very beautiful. But the closer you come to dunya, you see the reality of dunya, that this world is nothing. This world is nothing, right? Now those people who have, and they realize this too, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, right? And a time comes when they realize this, it's those people who slay their own relatives for this wealth, to attain mirath, to have their hands, to have deeper pockets when it comes to your inheritance. And then a time comes, a person says, what, did I really do this for, did I really slay my family for this wealth? It's nothing, right? And as disbelievers will say, مَا أَغْنَى عَنِّي مَالِيَ هَلَكَ عَنِّي سُلْطَانِيَ. That power and might that I had, everything is gone. The wealth that I used to love and I used to cherish, I used to swim in the wealth, I used to bury that wealth, it's all gone. Didn't do anything, didn't avail me, nothing. Right? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding of this, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Now, with this, inshallah, we end our surah, and we begin with Al Imran. Now, here's the thing what we have to understand is that tomorrow, now, Surah Nisa goes all the way into the 6th juz, right? So inshallah, which we'll cover, so tomorrow we will not be on the 4th juz as study, we are not completing the 4th juz, but tomorrow we will be on the 6th juz because we will cover all of Surah Nisa. Now, just generally saying, what does Surah Nisa talk about? It was revealed sometime after, in parts when Muslims had migrated to Medina. Now, understanding understanding battles had taken place after migration, right? After migration. And as I'm saying, this was revealed after migration, right? When Muslims were in Medina. A lot of menfolk had been slain, where now they're shuhada, right? So the womenfolk were going through a lot of troubles, right? You had children were now orphans, right? So this surah talks about their masail. Now, masail, it also talks about masail regarding yatama, regarding orphans and their rights. It talks about the rights of women, the rights of womenfolk, right? It talks about masail regarding nikah, masail regarding talaq. Now, As far as masail regarding nikah and talaq, this is something that we will briefly touch, not going to go into too many details. However, we will discuss masail of tayammum, salat al-qasr, salat al-khawf. This is something that we will discuss tomorrow, inshallah, and orphans. Right, this is something we'll discuss tomorrow, and we will cover by doing so. This is something the entire surah talks about. This is something along with a few other things, but this majority of this surah covers these topics, right? So then again, tayammum, salat al-qasr, salat al-khawf, masail of orphans and their rights, and a few masail of the women folk, talaq, and nikah, along with a few other things. So we will cover the entire surah Nisa tomorrow. So it starts from the 4th juz and it ends in the 6th juz, just a few pages into the 6th juz, roughly 4 or 5 pages into the 6th juz, okay? So this is for tomorrow, inshallah. Now we come to our hadith of the day. We are almost done, inshallah. Hadith of the day is, as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, ينزل ربنا تبارك سماء الدنيا. Every night Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends to our sky. كل ليلة. Right? Thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, is there anyone مَن يَدْعُونِي فَاسْتَجِيبُ لَهُ? Is there anyone to call unto me? Is there anyone who is going to ask me for something? مَن يَسْأَلُنِي or فَأُعْطِيَهُ. Is there anyone to ask me something so that I may give him? مَن يَسْتَغْفِرُنِي. Is there anyone today to seek some repentance? فَأُغْفَرَ لَهُ. So that I may forgive him. So every night Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends and He calls out, is there anyone who wishes for his sins to be forgiven? Call on to me. Is there anyone who wants something from me? Call on to me at this time. Sad to say, my dear respected brothers and sisters, majority of us, we are fast asleep at this time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so close to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls out, O my people, O my slaves, O my servants, do you want something? Do you want something? Do you want your forgiveness? Ask me for forgiveness. Majority of our time is spent, throughout our lives. You look at your life. Let's examine our lives, right? الكيس من دان نفسه وعمل لما بعد الموت والعاجز من اتبع نفسه هواها وتمنى على الله. A smart person, he analyzes himself and he works for the hereafter. A dumb person, he relies on he follows his desires. وتمنى على الله. Thereafter he relies on the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And let us not be like those who just who overlook the ayahs of punishment, who just completely say, Allahu ghafurur rahim, Allahu ghafurur rahim, everything is okay, Allahu ghafurur rahim, Allah ta'ala protect us from this. Ameen. Right? You are not a smart person, وَالْعَاجِزُ, an incapable person, a person who is not so smart. وَالْعَاجِزُ مَنِ اتَّبَعَ نَفْسَهُ هَوَى وَتَمَنَّى عَلَى اللَّهِ. You follow your desires, thereafter you rely on the mercy of Allah. Allah is ghafurur rahim, Allah ta'ala protect us from this. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends and says, who is there? Right. Ask for forgiveness, I will forgive you. My dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to understand, if we need honor, if we need dignity, Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, the wealth that they had, what is the reason for that wealth? فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. This was something that we have to understand as well. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. If you wish to have wealth in this world, فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. You want your children to be obedient, you want the children to be obedient, and you want the children to listen to you, seek help through Allah. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. You want wealth, فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. You want honor in this life, you want people to say, and look at you, mashallah, you're great, you're this and that. You want honor, you want people to say, mashallah, alhamdulillah, all that stuff to you. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want dignity, you want to be honorable in the eyes of people. You want people to say that, subhanAllah, this person is amazing. Right? Then again, not talking about pride, just talking about honor, just talking about dignity, what is right. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Run to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear respected brothers and sisters, the question that we really need to ask ourselves is, today you have someone, you perform a task, you start to write something, a time comes, you tire yourself, you get tired of writing, you drop that pen or you drop that pencil. You watch something on TV, let's say you're watching sports or something, some sports highlights, right? For example, you're you can only watch 8 minutes or something. Once it exceeds the 8-minute mark, your eyes get tired. You get tired. You can no longer watch it. Right? You get tired. You don't want to watch it anymore. You get tired. So we get tired of all these things, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Someone who has been living for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. The question that we need to ask ourselves is, when will we get tired of sinning? We get tired of everything. We get tired of sleeping. We get tired of eating. We get tired of playing. We get tired of watching things. We get tired of talking. We get tired of doing so many things. The question for us is, when will our nufus, when will our abdan, when will we get tired of sinning? When is enough for us? When someone is eating, there's a limit for you, right? A person says, what, I've had enough. I can't eat more. You drink water. You say, there's my limit. I can't drink more. You're sleeping. You sleep for 10 hours. Then you say, I can't sleep for more than 10 hours. Right? There's that limit. There's that cap for you. So what is the cap for us, for our sins? Right? Is it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 4 years, until a time comes when we start to witness white hair? Is that our limit? Is that our cap, my dear respected brothers? When we have wrinkles on our faces, is that our limit? Is that our cap? So we need to ask ourselves, question ourselves, what is this? Right? We need to question ourselves, Allahu Akbar. When it comes to when someone passes away, right, we are ready to shed tears. Someone's uncle passes away, we're ready to shed tears. When someone else passes away, we're ready to shed tears. Brother passes away, you cry profusely. Why? Because you have love for that, right? The question that we need to ask ourselves when we read the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when we talk about our loss, we shed tears. When we talk about the sunnah, when we talk about the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the loss that he had to incur, that he incurred, is it not suitable for us to shed tears for his loss as well? Today we are ready to cry out of the fear of people. Are we ready to cry out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is something, this is a question that we need to ask ourselves. We remind ourselves, we keep thinking about ourselves when it comes to suhoor, did I eat date or not? Did I consume dates or not? When it comes to iftar, did I have that samosa or not? When it comes to other things, did I do that time? Did I do that or not? Did I have this done on time or not? Living throughout our lives, we have to question ourselves, has there been a day in my life where I cried? Did my eyes cry for the sake of Allah? Have my eyes shed tears? Did I shed tears for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allahu Akbar. There's, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understand. There was this one alim there's this one pious person who used to cry profusely. Cry day and night, day and night, day and night. He would cry all day. So he was, so doctor said to him, what? You need to discontinue this. Stop crying profusely. If you continue crying, you may lose your eyesight. You may lose your eyes. Allahu Akbar. Look at his response. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the true understanding of this. Ameen, ameen, ameen. Look at his response. What did he say? He said, oh doctors, what good are these eyes if these eyes can't cry before Allah? Right. My dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to understand, you take all bodies of water of this world, I tell you, by Allah, they are not enough to extinguish the fire of Jahannam. On the other hand, you have one boy or one girl or a teenager, right, who cries, who not even cries, a tear comes out, just one tear, not tears, I'm using singular, a tear comes out, one tear comes out. By Allah, this one tear out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is enough to extinguish the oceans of fires of Jahannam. Oceans of Jahannam can be extinguished with this one tear. What is to say of that person? What is to say of those people who shed tears out of the fear of Allah? out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whose their clothing are wet because of their tears. Why are they shedding tears? Because of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is something, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to, and again, see, subhanAllah, may Allah ta'ala give us an understanding of that. This beautiful statement. What good are these eyes if these eyes don't cry to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So the question for us is, what good are our lives if our lives are not lived according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You think you've lived a good life if you don't live that life, the life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to live? Right? Allahu Akbar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us an understanding of this. My dear respected brothers, there has a time will come when these eyes, today a person feels very happy. At night you close your eyes, you open your eyes in the morning, a time will come when these eyes will stay shut. These eyes will stay shut. Right? Today you carry the janazah of others. Today you cry over the janazah of others. Tomorrow a time will come when people will cry over your demise. They will cry over you. Right now is the time, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Let us make the best use, not only Ramadan. I'm not only saying Ramadan, right? I'm not saying let us cherish Ramadan. This is something that's already a given. We need to cherish Ramadan. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has instructed us, cherish this month, right? My dear respected brothers and sisters, let us make this dua that, Ya Allah, from this day on, let us not procrastinate. Don't say after Ramadan. Don't say tomorrow. Don't say the next day. Don't say, I will change my life from next Friday. I will change my life after I do this. I will change my life after I do this. No, you don't need to say anything. Ya Allah, from this day onwards, as we speak, as we breathe, Ya Allah, from this day onwards, Ya Allah, I want to tell you that, Ya Allah, my body does not belong to shaitan. Ya Allah, my body does not belong to my nafs. Ya Allah, my body only belongs to you. Ya Allah, you have your power over my body. Ya Allah, this body will do whatever you want it to do. This is how we need to live our lives, right? Every person has to taste death. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said clearly, right? Allahu Akbar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if I were to save any being, if I were to save any person from death, it would have been my beloved, but even my beloved had to taste death. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had to taste death, right? Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, by Allah, who are far greater in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than us, than me, than everyone, right? Than all of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them death. They had to taste death, right? Now, here's the thing, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Last thing we have to understand, I do apologize for the time. Whether you accept this willingly or you are forced to accept this reality, that is up to you, right? Whether you live your life according to the deen of Allah Ta'ala or whether you live your life according to shaitan and shayateen, you have to taste death. This is a reality that everyone has to understand. People say, no, don't talk about death. I don't want to talk about death. Why don't you want to talk about death? Death is something, it is a gift for believers, right? When, at the time of Karbala, Shimar said, we are going to slay all of you. We will kill all of you. Allahu Akbar. Hussein radiallahu anhu, look at his response. What did he say? Abil mawt tukhawifuni. You scare me of death? Are you serious? You scare me of death? Right? Today everyone is scared. Something happens in the masjid, Allahu Akbar. This is, I do really want to prolong this. Right? Something, incidents happen in the masjid. I don't want to get into it, but just, isharatan saying New Zealand incidents, right? So a few things happen, we get afraid. Oh, I can't go to the masjid anymore. Allahu Akbar. Why can't you go to the masjid anymore? Why are you afraid? What scares you? Is your meeting with Allah, is that what scares you? The meeting with Allah, is that what scares you? Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, well, what are they saying during battles? Al-mawtu ahla indana min al-asali. Death, meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sweeter than us than honey. Al-mawtu ahla indana min al-asali. Right, Allahu Akbar. It is a gift. Now you can choose. See, like I said, we determine our destiny by what we do, not by who we are. You live your life according to the deen of Allah Ta'ala, you make Allah Ta'ala happy, you place the pleasure of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala before everything, before everyone. Now here's the thing, what you have to understand. Take care of your parents, but by Allah, I tell you this, the pleasure of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the pleasing of Allah comes before everyone. It comes before yourself. It comes before your nafs, it comes before your parents, it comes before your children. You know, people say, I have so much love for my children, and at times we do so many things. We go against the will of, we go against Allah, Allahu Akbar. We go against Allah to please our own children. And then later on, these children, they go against you too, right? You do so much for your children go against you. Well, by Allah, you turn to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, your Allah will never go against you. So who are we trying to please in this world, right? Why are we still مَا غَرَّكَ بِرَبِّكَ الْكَرِيمِ? What turns you away from Allah? الَّذِي خَلَقَكَ فَسَوَّاكَ فَعَدَلَكَ. Just look at yourself in the mirror. You know, the women folk need to do this. Women folk, the men folk, everyone, youngsters need to do this. You know, you look at yourself, you get ready for others. You know, look at yourself, you make your hair for others, and you say, MashaAllah, subhanAllah, I look so beautiful today, you know, this and that, and etc. Women folk, you need to go and look at yourself in the mirror. It's the eyes that you see, you know, you're able to see yourself in the mirror. Who has given you these eyes? When was the last time, when was the last time you thanked Allah? When was the last time, now, not only talking about women folk, talking about everyone. When was the last time you actually turned to Allah and said, Ya Allah, I thank you? Can you stop Allah Ta'ala if He takes away your eyesight today? Can you stop Allah Ta'ala if He takes away your breath today? Can you stop Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala if He takes away all these? You know, SubhanAllah, these are the blessings that we need to talk about, my dear spiritual brothers. And throughout Ramadan, inshallah, we will talk about them. Nevertheless, my dear respected brothers and sisters, may Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, inshallah, throughout Ramadan, we will discuss this. Coming back to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, how much are you going to run? Don't you get tired of running? Aren't we tired of running? Listening to music day and night in the month of Ramadan, we can't stay away from this. Watching watching different things, getting involved in haram, eating haram consumption, listening to haram, wearing haram, right? Where is that stop button for you, right? This is something, and we think today that we have so much time. We have so much time today that we will repent next Ramadan. By Allah, who knows? Allah Ta'ala has only written for you to see this day. Allah Ta'ala has not written for you to see tomorrow. Right? And then again, coming back to that beautiful poem, تُعْسُ الْإِلَهَ وَأَنْتَ تُظْهِرُ حُبَّهُ. You claim to love Allah Ta'ala, we claim to love Allah Ta'ala, including myself and everyone who is listening. We claim to love Allah Ta'ala, and yet we go against Him. Right? This is not the quality of lovers, my dear respected brothers and sisters. This is not the quality of lovers, this is the quality of shaitan. Shaitan was an abid, like us, right? Shaitan worshipped Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, but shaitan was not an ashiq. He didn't have ishq. He wasn't an ashiq, right? Let us separate ourselves from shaitan. Shaitan was an abid too. We are abid too, but we are not only are we ubad, not only are we slaves of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, right? Not only are we ibad of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, but we are also ushaqa. We are also ashiqeen of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. We love Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Truly, not only do we say it, but we mean it, right? إِنَّ الْمُحِبَّ لِمَنْ يُحِبُّ مُطِيعُهُ. For verily, the job of a lover, the task of a lover, the task that he is given is to obey the one he loves. So if we claim to love Allah Ta'ala and we claim to love Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we need, look, actions speak louder than words. We need to show this throughout our action, through our actions. That, Ya Allah, if I'm saying, Ya Allah, I love you, Ya Allah, out of your love, Ya Allah, I will give up music. If I say I love Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, out of your love, I will follow your deen, I will follow your path, I will tread your path. Ya Allah, if I claim to love you, Ya Allah, I will leave khamr. Ya Allah, if I claim to love you, Ya Allah, I will leave riba. Right? May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala give us the understanding of this. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala enable us to build a better connection with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Ameen. I thank you for your time. Jazakallahu khairan for your time. Inshallah, tomorrow, as I mentioned, we will discuss these few masail on tayammum, salat al-qasr, salat al-khawf, orphans, and we will finish the 5th juz tomorrow as well. Right, so tomorrow we will be on our 6th juz. Today we were supposed to finish the 4th juz. We will do all of Surah Nisa. Surah Nisa goes into the 6th juz, so by tomorrow, inshallah, we will be on our 6th juz. We will be on our 6th juz. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding of what has been heard and said. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
This session is no longer being recorded.